Hello everyone, welcome back to Spiritual Essence, and in today's video, I want to talk about hiding your magic. Now, you may look at the title of this and what I just said and just be like, hiding your magic? Why would anyone want to hide their magic? Personally, I do not mean actually keeping your magic a secret. What I'm talking about is for those who are in the quote, and this is a quote from spiritual groups that I've been in the broom closet. Yes, that is actually a thing. And someone who is in the broom closet is someone who isn't out to their family about what they practice, may even have to hide it based off of religious bias, or just for the fact that they're not around people who really understand and may take offense to what you believe or practice. And the reason I make this video is because I've known people who've dealt with that, and also I have dealt with that. When I first started Magick, it was the end of my junior year of high school. I was still living with my parents. And my family is predominantly Christian. My dad, most of all, was, very, very Christian, which means that, he didn't like paganism. He didn't like the practice of magic. He thought all magic is evil, and there's no arguing about it. So I had to practice in secret. I had to practice my magic in secret. And when I started buying, I bought a few books on the spiritual, and my dad was like, "What are you buying these books for?" And I'm like, "Just interests me." And he was like, "Okay." He didn't really think too much about it. When I actually started making my own gods and I wanted to do a ritual. I mean, I couldn't just do it in my room. My parents were always listening at my door for anything, so it's not like I really had any privacy. But there was a time when I started actually getting in shape, and we had the elliptical downstairs, and I started working out downstairs, and eventually I did start meditating downstairs for a while. And so one night, I told my parents that I was going to go downstairs to meditate, and they said, okay. So they were watching a movie at the time in the living room, so I went downstairs, I set up the altar, and the basement wasn't exactly clean. I had to make a makeshift altar out of a few totes that were around, and I didn't have as much spiritual stuff at the time, so I had like a geode, a quartz crystal, some incense, and a few candles. That was it. I didn't really have a whole lot, and I was praying to a goddess, like a goddess that I created. So I wasn't really sure if it was going to work. I wasn't sure what was going to happen. My dad for years kept telling me, "Oh yeah, if you practice magic, you're going to invite evil into your life. You're going to invite the devil. You're going to invite demons. It's just bad. All magic's bad, so, don't even try it." So that was kind of imprinted into my head. So I was actually kind of nervous, but something was like compelling me to do it, like an inner feeling. To reject it would be like to reject my own nature, It wouldn't feel good. And like something, as I was doing the ritual, I did do some like research before doing this, but other than that, I really had no idea what I was doing. But it was like I kind of did, I was aware of like how to do things, how to usher in this energy. And I did my ritual, and I wasn't sure if it worked at first, but I definitely felt something. I felt like an electrical feeling in my hands that was like the energy, the high vibrational energy, and I felt a presence there, which I believe was the goddess in question that I had created and prayed to. And then when I ended the ritual, the feelings just ended. And all the time I was doing the ritual, I was so worried that my parents were going to come downstairs and catch me. Fortunately, it was nighttime at the time, so I had all the lights off. So if they did come downstairs, they would turn the light on. But, if they caught me, like, doing anything, like, they would probably be mad. So luckily they didn't catch me. It wasn't until, like, I used to have another channel way back when. And that's actually where Spiritual Essence started. And eventually I was like, you know what? This deserves its own channel. I need to put it on its own channel. Where I did my ritual. And actually, I found that video a while back. And I put it on this channel. My first documented altar ritual. I totally forgot that my dad at the time had my YouTube channel information. And he was watching my videos. And he found it. My first altar ritual, and he was pissed. He was pissed. He was like, don't be doing nothing. Don't be bringing stuff into my house. You're gonna get haunted. You're gonna get possessed. Blah, 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 blah. And then it's just like, okay, old man. So I kind of had to tone it down a bit, and I just stuck to praying and meditating and reading my books. And if ever they weren't home, like, if ever they both left the house, which my mom, she was, like, always home. So my dad was, like, the only one who actually went to work and left the house. So whenever that happened and I had the house to myself, I would do a ritual. That was the only time I really could. I remember once, my parents were asleep, and I was working late at the time, so I came home, and I wanted to do a ritual. My parents were both asleep, but it's not like I could actually do it in my room. So I went outside in the backyard, and I had to tiptoe. I had to carefully take the stuff I wanted outside, carefully open up the door, and, close it like real quietly so that they wouldn't wake up. And there was a little table outside. I set it up. And during that ritual, I was so afraid that my dad was going to notice that. So we have a bar on the back door, like for intruders and stuff. And if that's not on the door, he's usually the first one to notice. So I was kind of worried that my dad would wake up and wonder, why is the bar off the door? Is something going on? So as I was doing the ritual, I kept, like, looking back at the back door to make sure that he wasn't there. And I tried to do it as quickly as I could, and I was just so afraid that he would catch me. And my dad was so, like, not into magic. One time, it was, like, winter time, and I had a bunch of candles burning, and my room kind of got cold, so I just lit a bunch of candles, and it warmed up my room. And I love candlelight. There's just, like, a mystique about candlelight, Sometimes I'll just like to light a candle. He came into my room, he looked at the candles, and I was just sitting at my table on my computer, and I had candles around, and he's like, "You having a seance?" And this wasn't, like, jokingly. He actually asked me, am I having a seance? And I said, no. I just lit some candles because I like candles, and my room was very cold, so it warmed up my room. And he's like, okay. Like, he was skeptical, And when me and my sister finally moved out of the house and we moved in with our grandparents, which is where we live now, it was great because I knew I would have a sense of spiritual freedom. My grandpa, he don't really care about any of that. He doesn't care if I do rituals and stuff. What I do in my space is my business. My dad fully knows that I practice this stuff, and he sees my bookshelf all the time, all my books about magic and stuff, and he don't read any of those books. He borrowed one of my books, but it was about, like, cursed objects, because he does, like, the paranormal stuff. And oftentimes he'll say something here and there, like he saw my Baphomet statue and he's like, "Why do you have a statue of the devil in your room?" I'm like, because I bought it from my sister who bought it before me, and I thought it was cool, and, that I wanted it. And oftentimes he'll make like little remarks sometimes, like he's like, I see you have a book about angels. You don't believe in angels. And I'm like, how do you know? Just because I'm pagan doesn't mean I don't believe in angels. So he was born in a household where, it was very, very Christian. Like, if you said anything like against it, you would be beaten, So, they, nothing against Christians. I'm just going to say that right now. Nothing against Christians. I met a lot of nice Christians in my day. But there are those who are very toxic and like they're offended by everything that goes against what they believe. If there's like a shred of evidence against what they believe, they go, ah, and burn the witch. And so he grew up with that. And so I see why that's kind of burned into his brain about like, he just has these stereotypes about me, about what I believe, and he doesn't even know what I fully believe. We don't talk about that stuff, which is fine. He don't have to understand it. He don't have to believe in the same things I believe. He's free to believe in his ways. But don't talk shit about my ways, and I won't talk shit about yours, respect. But yeah, he fully knows that, I have all kinds of spiritual objects and books. And, one time me and my sister were merely talking about like manifesting positive things in our life. And he's like, don't be summoning nothing that's going to make your life bad. He's like so spiritually ignorant that, he believes that simply talking about manifesting something automatically means it's bad. So, and he believes in prayer. So, same thing, I just don't get it. I don't get it, but, I have my ways. I'm free to do my ways. He's free to do his. I don't live there anymore. And you know what? We're on a much better relationship now that we don't live there because, I'm free to be myself completely and free to do what I wish and practice what I practice and believe what I believe, and I just think that's wonderful. And I know there's other people like that who have that issue. So my advice to people who are going through that is just practice your beliefs in little ways to where, it's not going to offend your family's sensitivities. And, if you have a job, work towards getting your own place. I know it's difficult nowadays, especially with, inflation and all, but work towards your life, work towards building your own life. I know it's going to take time. It took me quite a few years before, finally we moved out and we moved in with our grandparents. So it took some time. So I don't have a place of my own, but I'm free to do what I want. So, if there's like another family member that maybe you can move in with that allows you to freely practice what you practice, or if you want like a roommate, maybe a friend that you guys can go in an apartment together, or maybe even a house, do that. If it's really bothering you that bad, work towards building your own life and getting your spiritual freedom. I know it sucks. It sucks to live with people who are so offended by your beliefs that they want to stop you from, practicing what you practice and believing what you believe. I know it sucks, but hang in there, do what you can to build the life you want. And that's what I have to say about that. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please subscribe. Don't forget to hit the bell button so you don't miss any of my future uploads. And I do hope that everyone in this situation in the, quote, broom closet can get out of it and start flying on that said broom.